It's Who's In, Who's Out on 97.3 ESPN FM, South Jersey's football station.
All right, it's time for Who's In, Who's Out of the NFL playoffs. After 2 full weeks, these are the 12 teams that we think will be a part of the NFL playoffs. We go around the room, we go around the league. We start in the AFC, work our way all the way through. 4 division winners, 2 wild cards in each conference, 12 teams in all. Who's in, who's out after 2 weeks of the NFL playoffs? We'll start in the AFC East. Ryan Rothstein, who is in the East?
That would be Josh Gordon and the New England Patriots, Mike.
Gentleman hasn't even played a game yet.
Well, I have a scary feeling about Josh Gordon and Tom Brady. No, but in all seriousness, the Patriots are the class of the AFC East until proven otherwise.
I agree with Ryan. The Patriots are the king until someone takes them out.
Yep.
Patriots, definitely. Although, if of all the years,
nah.
Is there a team that I didn't say of all the years? Is there a team this year that can at least hang with them? Is there a good enough Miami, the Jets, obviously not Buffalo, or one of those teams good enough this year?
I mean, it's yet to be seen, right, Josh? Like maybe Miami, like maybe. Listen, I say no, but if you say who could hang with them,
no.
The
answer is no.
You're reaching. We're reaching for it. But Miami, let's see it in a couple weeks.
My answer would be
maybe.
no. I'm asking you guys. Like, do you see either one of them challenging them?
No, I don't.
No,
not yet.
Let's go to the North. You got 2-0 Cincinnati, 1-1 Baltimore, 0-1 Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Josh Hennig, who's in the North?
I'm going to go a little ridiculous this week with the AFC North because I know the Browns aren't winning the division. I have no faith in the Bengals. And the Steelers are 0-1 now. So I'm going to go off the board.
Nah, you go ahead.
I'm going to go the Baltimore Ravens.
You love the Ravens.
Because I think that if it comes down to home versus away, I'm going to believe in the Ravens winning those home games, and the Steelers and Bengals are not going to win in Baltimore. So as of today, September 18th, begrudgingly, I'm going the Ravens because I thought the Steelers would be better, but that defense is an abomination for a team that has a former defensive coordinator as a head coach.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go in your direction, Josh. For the AFC North, I'm reluctantly sticking with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're headed towards a potential, as Mike Gill would like to say, dumpster fire, but I'm not giving up on them yet. It's just I'm not going to hit the panic button through 2 weeks for certain picks. The Steelers are one of them for me, but they're definitely trending in a bad direction there. They need to get a win. They need to get them back on track this week, but I'm sticking with the Steelers right now because really it's more so about the Ravens and the Bengals and the Browns. I don't have any trust in those 3 teams. The Steelers, for me, are the top of that division for now.
I got the Steelers as well. I mean, they're 2 games. They're a game back. I mean, really a half a game back. They play the Bengals twice. I think they end up taking care of business once they kind of settle the ship there. 2 weeks in, I'm not panicking on Pittsburgh just yet, and I'll have them winning the North. In the South, Ryan, who's in?
Jaguars, man. Jaguars look good. Blake Bortles, watch out. He's on a fast track to the Hall of Fame. No, I'm kidding. Jaguars are deep. The defense is for real. The offense looks like they have enough weapons and the potential quarterback play there to make another deep run, and especially in the South. Right now, the Jaguars are top of the hill until someone pushes them off. Jaguars for me.
I got the Jaguars as well. That was the best Blake Bortles I've ever seen in the NFL on Sunday. And in many ways, it reminded me the reason why I liked him so much coming out of college. The touch on the ball, the ability to stand in the pocket, the scrambling ability, athleticism. If that Blake Bortles shows up for most of the season, this isn't just a team that's going to win the division. This is a team that's probably going back to the AFC Championship game.
I like Jacksonville, too. I agree. I thought Bortles looked really good. They've got some interesting weapons there, but that defense is wrecking the house.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to be tough, and if they have home field, they're going to be difficult. So watch out for the home field race in the AFC. I know people like to downplay the race for home field, this early in the season, but just think about that game in week number 2. Who won that game? Jacksonville or New England? If it comes down to home field and those two teams are tied at the end of the year, that game's going to be in Jacksonville, and that's going to be an interesting situation if New England has to travel there in January. How about the West? Josh Hennig, who's in?
I still got the Broncos. You guys know me. I've had the Broncos since before the season. They're 2-0. Look, I know the Chiefs are 2-0 as well, but the Broncos, I think that home field advantage is big. And it seems like teams go into that building and they're having trouble. And you know what? I will also say this. In a league full of kickers who can't make field goals and extra points, at least the Broncos have a guy who can.
All right. I'm going with the Chargers, guys. The Chargers were my pick before week 1. The Chiefs right now are trending in a direction that this could change for me in a week or so because I really like the Chiefs. I really like Mahomes. But I had the Chargers going into the season. They got to win this week. I'm going to stick with the Chargers and Philip Rivers for now. I think they're going to be able to do enough at the end of the year to take home the AFC West crown. Chargers for me.
Kansas City, Mahomes, I love the weapons, defense. They've won 2 games on the road. Now they get to come home. They had the quirk in the schedule, much like Seattle did, where they had to play 2 games on the road. And they weren't, easy places to play. They had to go travel out west to go play the Chargers, and they had to go to Pittsburgh. And they passed both those tests with flying colors. I think Mahomes is even going to be better when he gets a chance to come home. So I like Kansas City in the West. Wild cards, give me 2. Who's in? You got your purple Ravens shirt on. Is that a sign?
Not a sign. No sign this week. My 2 are the Colts and the Chiefs.
I am going the Chiefs and the Steelers. I just have the Chiefs just not winning the division. That's basically the only reason why they're in the wild card. And I can't knock the Steelers totally out of the playoffs, but I got to relegate them to the wild card. Can you guys just win a game? Just win a game.
Yeah. This is a big week for them, I'd say.
Baltimore and the Chargers are my 2, although I'm thinking that the AFC wildcard is going to be interesting. Miami, Cincinnati, I think ultimately Baltimore, Tennessee, maybe Houston gets back in this thing, Denver, the Chargers. I think the AFC wildcard race is really going to be fun.
Jets?
I'm not buying the Jets. Maybe a 7-9 type of season for the Jets.
Just the Dolphins. They're 2-0.
Yeah.
I did say the Dolphins.
Yeah. No, I said him.
Oh, I mentioned that.
No, you said the Dolphins. Yeah, I said a team you didn't mention.
Oh.
Yeah.
I picked up what you were putting down.
All right, there you go.
All right, let's go over to the NFC. Who's in? Who's out in the NFC West? Ryan, who's in?
NFC West, guys, it's an easy one. The Rams. They look really good. Like, possibly best team in the league right now. Good. They're deep. They're talented. I love their head coach. Quarterback looks legit. Just, I think they're going to run away with the NFC West. I'm going with the Rams.
I'm going with the Rams, too, but I'm going to hold off on the best team in the league for one reason. They started the season with the Cardinals and the Raiders.
Very good point.
Those 2 may end up being in the top 5 of the 2019 NFL Draft.
I would say so.
I went with the Rams. In the South, Josh, you have. Who's in?
In the NFC South, I am sticking with the Saints. I know week 1 was ugly. I know week 2 was a rough start, but this was an 0-2 team after 2 weeks last year. They seem to figure it out after a few weeks, and they have a better second half of the season than first half of the season last year. I think this may be a similar situation. I'm going Saints.
I'm going with the Saints as well. Listen, that NFC South division is the toughest in football. There's 4 really good teams, Bucs, Falcons, Panthers, Saints. I think they're all going to really beat up on each other this year. And I'm going to put my money with Drew Brees and Sean Payton at the end of the day. Out of those 4 teams, it's going to be a rocky road. But I like the Saints to win that division and be one of the top teams in the NFC when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I got the Saints too, even though they've struggled a bunch. I think all the teams in that South have had their issues except for one, and that's been Tampa. But I think the Saints, they proved last year they got off to the 0-2 start and then really got hot. I think you might see something similar from them, putting it all together and making a run. In the North, this is an interesting division all of a sudden. You got 2 teams that tied 1-0-1. They tied each other. And then the Bears and Lions. Ryan, who wins the North? Who's in?
Well, I'm wearing my purple for a reason, and that's for the Vikings.
I stuck with the Ravens.
I picked the Vikings start the year. I picked them last week. I'm sticking with them, man. I still think they're very talented, very deep. The Packers are going to give them a run for their money, but I don't know how healthy Rodgers is going to be all year. Good division. Weird start so far with the Bears, Vikings, and Packers games, but I like the Vikings to take home the North.
I'm going with the Packers. 1, because Aaron Rodgers is still the quarterback, and 2, the Packers should have won the game 3 times. And one of them was because a dumb penalty was called that is not roughing the passer, and the other one, Rodgers knocked the ball out of his own hand. So if those 2 things don't happen, the Packers would have won that game, so I'm sticking Packers in the North.
I got the Vikings. Even though that maybe you're right, they should have won the game is in Green Bay, and Green Bay couldn't get the job done at their home field, and the second time they'll play will be in Minnesota, so they're going to have to figure out a way to try to win a game on the road in Minnesota. So I like Minnesota because they have the home game still to play. Green Bay couldn't get it done, and I'm not so sure Rodgers gets through this year. I think there's major concerns about that.
I think the man's on one leg right now. It's impressive.
No question. I don't think he's playing at 100% right now. So slight edge. I like Minnesota's defense way better than I like Green Bay's defense. So I'll go Minnesota over Green Bay in the North. How about in the East? Anybody have any changes from Philadelphia?
No.
Philly, man. Philly.
Wild cards. 2. Give me 2. Josh, who you got?
Well, I have 1 consistent and 1 new. I'm still sticking with the Vikings for the wild card. I still think they're a playoff team. I like what I saw from Kirk Cousins these first 2 weeks. And I got a new entrant. Give me Fitzmagic and the Bucks. They're the only team in the south of the NFC that is undefeated. You know what? I got issues with the Falcons. I got issues with the Panthers.
Who's leading the Bucks there, Josh?
Fitzpatrick.
Oh,
Why
wow.
not?
He's
Why
on the
not?
Fitzmagic
Look,
train.
I know everybody hates when I bring this up. I'm a firm believer in the psychology of sports. I think there is something to be said for the fact that the players love Fitzpatrick that much. They have this chemistry. They have this vibe. I know it sounds silly, but the moment he got up there and looked like Conor McGregor at that press conference, I said, this locker room is buying him. They're not buying the coaching staff. They're not buying Jameis. They're buying Fitzmagic, and I'm buying the Bucks.
And Winston, to me, lost all respect when he started eating his fingers last year, pregame. So,
and Deshaun Jackson gave him a look like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, man. So I'm with you. But I don't have him in the wild card yet, Josh.
That's all right.
They stay down this road, possibly. My 2 teams are the Packers and the Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to get in above the Falcons, although that's going to be tough. But I like the Packers and Panthers sneaking into the wild card.
All right, I got the Bay of Pigs as well. I agree. I think Tampa gets in. I like what their offense looks like.
Wow, you're coming to the dark side, Mike. Look at you.
They got a lot of talent on defense, even though there's some injuries there. I think when they get Grimes back, he's one of the better corners in the league. They've got good play up front. I like their linebackers, which is an underrated position in this league anymore. Alexander, he's a playmaker. But Evans, Jackson, Howard, they've got some guys that are a handful. And you know what? Their offensive line is pretty darn good. And in a league that offensive line play is so down, they've got a decent offensive line. So I like Tampa as one of them. And I'll go with Green Bay. I'll at least ride them until Rodgers gets hurt. I don't like their defense. I don't like if Rodgers gets hurt. But right now he's healthy. So I'll go Green Bay over that jumbled up mess in the South. And I don't think there's an NFC East team or another NFC West team that's really going to be in the mix. That's who's in and who's out. Who did we miss? Who did we forget? 609-403-0973. It's who's in, who's out.